I don't want to be that guy, but like it's already March 2nd and that's kind of crazy to me. This year has kind of flown by. I don't want to be that guy that always says that, but it's already March here, and within like 2 to 3 months E3 is already around the corner. So I figured, why don't we talk about it a little bit, give you a little bit overview of like what I'm thinking this year, as well as giving some like early predictions, because we got to get that hype train rolling around pretty early here. But if I'm being completely honest, I do expect this year to be really good in terms of E3 this year, at least in games. So this year definitely excites me more than like last year or more than the year before. I definitely am expecting a lot of good stuff this year. So let's get into it. So with this year being so exciting, of course, we're going to be doing that pre-coverage for E3. If you guys don't know what the pre-coverage was, last year pretty much on my channel, and pretty much me and Justin did this for Gaming at its Core, which is our podcast. I'll link in the description below. But pretty much what we'll be doing is throughout the whole entire month of May, we're going to be kind of doing like group videos as like a group discussion, pretty much giving us our predictions for each conference, as well as just over, going over specific titles like our top 5 gaming E3 moments, or maybe like top 5 game announcements we want to see, mainly towards the stuff of, what we're looking ahead. Of course, I'll be going into this more in depth as we get closer. This is only like really March 2nd here. Expect more news in the future, but expect that whole pre-coverage to come back. But yeah, as I said, 2018 definitely should be a good year. We've already seen like the launch of Monster Hunter World, which is a great game. There's been a few hidden gems that I've enjoyed, such as Celeste, but going in, obviously into God of War and Detroit, really we're starting to get to that whole, kind of phase where we're getting into the big heavy hitters later this year. And with E3, I definitely do think that we're going to see a lot of cool games as well, because 2019 might even look better than 2018. 2018 might have the numbers in terms of games, but when we talk about like Last of Us, Death Stranding, Cyberpunk, 2019 looks strong as well. But also, 2018 also has some pretty good third-party support. So let's just go over this. I kind of gave some early predictions here. I don't want to reveal all my cards because, because certain companies like Nintendo, I definitely think should be going strong this year, as well as some other third-party games I probably shouldn't mention right now because I'll probably save those for my prediction videos. But at least I figured, reveal some of my cards, or at least some of the things I'm thinking about here. So yeah, I figured I include like about 3 predictions here. So let's go over them.
Sweet early prediction time.
So prediction number 1, to get this hype train rolling around, I do think that this year will be pretty big for Sony, at least, because we're going to be seeing the gameplay reveal for 3 of their biggest games almost. Death Stranding, The Last of Us Part 2, and Ghost of Tsushima. I definitely see all 3 of them hitting 2019, so I definitely think this is the time. I don't think they're going to wait for any game for really 2019. I think they've already been teasing Death Stranding gameplay for long enough now. Last of Us Part 2, it's obviously time. Naughty Dog likes to show things early. It's kind of surprising we haven't seen gameplay up to this point, honestly. And, well, Ghost of Tsushima might be the one that's the least likely, but I definitely think it's probably due, because I think Ghost of Tsushima might actually be the earliest out of all 3 of these games. So yes, that's pretty big, because all 3 of these games, I definitely think if you own a PlayStation, you're looking forward to these games. And just overall, even if you don't, the weight that these games kind of carry in terms of, people's excitement. So this is definitely going to be very interesting. At the back of my mind, I am thinking, are they really going to do like 3 big segments of gameplay in their conference? Usually only like, what, this past year we got Spider-Man. I'm going blank, but Days Gone as well, right? So I'm not sure if anything else got really gameplay at E3. There's like some extended trailers, but I definitely think all 3 of those should be getting gameplay reveals, and this will be quite monumental, honestly, because I think that's all we want to really see from these games. Sony for the past year, since 2016, has been talking about these games, but now it's time to reveal the cards in terms of gameplay, and yeah, that's just completely exciting. Going over to Nintendo, I am expecting a lot from their conference this year, because I definitely think things like Pikmin 4 might be time, but I don't want to go into all the exclusives that I think they might be showing, or at least some of them for like, maybe Q3 and Q4 of this year, because that's definitely something they need to announce pretty soon here, because it looks pretty dry in terms of that. Yeah, so here's a bold prediction that's probably not going to happen because it's Nintendo, but because of the latest hints, I have some hope. So we all know Nintendo Switch Online service. I'm pretty sure when I say that, mostly negativity comes with that. But I do think that there's possibly an overhaul coming with that online service. Now, they've recently been announcing, or like kind of hinting at their like press talk, whatever, I forget what it's called, but they pretty much stated that their next announcement about the online service should please fans. So hopefully that means that since we've had to wait pretty much 18 months since the initial like launch of the Switch, that the reason it's taking this long is that they're going to be integrating at least some of these components for the online service. Things like maybe voice chat, things like messaging at least can easily be done on the Switch. I definitely think that some of those things should be integrated, and I think that's what they might be planning here, which is something that if they don't do, that's going to be very surprising that we had to wait this long just for nothing, really. Why are we waiting? What's taking so long? It's obvious at this point that Nintendo doesn't know online, but it doesn't take 18 months to figure out an online component for the app. I think at this point they heard the reception and they pretty much went back to the drawing board for that, which is good. So hopefully we'll at least see things like messaging and voice chat. I don't want to go into the side of like trophies because Nintendo hasn't really done that in the past. Because I don't want to spread the prediction pretty much too big here, but I definitely think VC and messaging should be a given, and that their whole Nintendo Switch Online service should be rehauled and overhauled for the main Switch component itself, which is something I'm very much hoping happens because that's the biggest flaw about the system right now, to me personally. Going over to like kind of the third-party side, I do want to talk about, From Software, because they kind of pretty much pinched their balls at the freaking last Game Awards. They gave us like, what, 10 seconds of footage and then just dropped out. We were all just lifting like, is it Bloodborne 2? Are we going to see more at PSX? We didn't. And now we're just like, when are we going to hear more? Besides the whole thing, how they said we're going to know more this year, I definitely think E3 is the best time. And if I had to put any, kind of date to when we're going to see it, I definitely think we're going to see it at Microsoft's. I think that's when Dark Souls 3 was initially, revealed at E3. I definitely think Microsoft, like kind of how they did with Metro, they're probably going to show it off at their conference. Not going to be exclusive, of course, but they're going to officially reveal their big new IP at Microsoft's conference, which is something that I'm looking forward to a lot this year. You could say that 2019 will have the big exclusive heavy hitters, and that this year just has the numbers in terms of the games, but you can't lie that things like Tomb Raider and things like From Software's new IP that might hit this year are definitely exciting games as well. Now, am I expecting From Software's new IP to launch this year? It can be either way. I definitely think since it's a new IP, it's probably going to be more like early 2019 maybe. But there's not usually a big window between reveal for From Software and when they actually come out with these games. So hopefully we're going to see something at E3. I think it's a given at this point, just based on their track record here, and that's very exciting to me. So yeah, I guess that was just 3 of my predictions here. I didn't want to go over all of everything because there's a lot to go about, things like Ubisoft, things like EA. But I think I've said enough that already you can kind of see in your head that this is going to be quite a big event, at least this year, hopefully, if at least some of these expectations or some of these things kind of come into reality here. Of course, hype accordingly. We don't want to go over the board here and just expect everything. But I think it's fairly certain that you should be at least somewhat excited because this year definitely looks strong. So yeah, with it being March now, I want to hear predictions. What are your early predictions? Are you excited for E3? I think all of us are pretty much are. What, like 2 weeks until May?
What?
When we have our pre-coverage going on, and pretty much 3 weeks until the big event.
What?
Very exciting stuff. And soon enough here, it will be upon us already like it was last year. So yeah, guys, I've been Online, of course. Make sure to do all that good stuff in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new here. And yeah, with that being said, I want to appreciate you as always for sticking throughout this whole entire video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.